adjacency spectra of multi-digraphs. So first, let's talk about what is this graphs. Then we'll deal with this digraphs and multi-digraphs, and what is spectra, and more generally, what is this complex adjacency spectrum I'm talking about. So graph is basically here, you can say it's a mathematical structure to model pairwise relationships between objects. The objects, we represent them in terms of in such nodes, and these relationships generally we put edges, we call them edges, directed edges, this kind of thing. So basically, your graph is a pair of sorry, it's an ordered pair which consists of set of vertices and set of edges, right? And in case of undirected graph, we choose here actually there is no direction, right? And this set of edges consists of distinct pairs of vertices called edges. We have chosen here only three types of graphs. This undirected graph, digraph, that's the simple directed graph, and multi-directed graph or multi-digraph we call. So undirected graph we sometimes call it graph, right? And here, in case of digraph, we allow only distinct ordered pairs of vertices, and we call them directed edges or R. Okay, and if we allow multiple directed edges between pair of vertices, then we call them multi-directed graphs or multi-digraphs. So basically, we try to find out some structural properties in the graph. The structural properties like whether the graph is bipartite or not. That means whether we can partition the vertex set into two parts so that there won't be any edge in each partition, and whatever edge will be there, that should be between one partition to the other, right? Or maybe we can think of whether the graph is tree or not, whether it is connected or not. These kind of questions, this kind of structural properties we want to study. Okay, one of the approaches we know is spectral graph theory. How it works? We have graph, we can associate them with a matrix. Okay, and matrices, if it is a square matrix, then it has eigenvalues and eigenvectors. Now, the target is here finding the relationship between the spectrum, that means the set of all its eigenvalues of the associated matrix, and the graph structure, right? Is it clear? So, next, let's talk about one of the popular matrix associated with a graph. There are many matrices like your adjacency matrix, Laplacian matrix, sinuous Laplacian matrix, distance matrix, there are many such matrices. Adjacency matrix is one popular matrix. So let G is a graph, and B is its vertex set, which is numbered as 1, 2 up to n. Then the adjacency matrix is a square matrix of order n cross n, and whose rows and columns are indexed by its vertexes. Okay, and its ijth entry is equal to the number of edges or arcs originating from vertex I and terminating at vertex J. So if it is an undirected edge, then we will just put 1 if there is an edge between I and J, otherwise we will put 0. And if it is a multi-directed graph, then we will count the number of directed edges from I to J, and that we will put it as ijth entry, right? Then there is concept of spectrum. Spectrum, as I said, it's a collection of all the eigenvalues, okay, of a matrix. The spectrum of a matrix means the collection of all its eigenvalues. And now that we have corresponding to a graph, we have a matrix associated to it. So the spectrum of a graph means the spectrum of the matrix associated with that graph. So by adjacency spectrum, we will call the adjacency, means the spectrum of the adjacency matrix of that graph, right? So here multiple eigenvalues can occur, right? Here is one example. We have considered this. This is an undirected graph. This is a digraph, and this is a multi-digraph. G1 is undirected, and this is the adjacency matrix. You can see. because there is one edge between 1 and 2. So 1 2 entry. So this is the row corresponding to vertex 1. Similarly, this is the column corresponding to vertex 2. So the 1 2 entry is here 1 because there is one edge. Okay. Similarly, here is because 2 1 is also considered. So here it is 1 also. But there is no edge between 2 and 4. You can see. So the 2 4 entry, 2 4 entry, this one, as well as the 4 2 entry, that is 4 2 entry, this one, this has to be 0 here, and these are 0 here, right? And here in G2, you can say this, see that there is a directed edge from 2 to 1, but there is no directed edge from 1 to 2. So 1 2 entry is 0, but 2 1 entry is 1. So basically, in case of undirected graph, you will always find the diagonal entry is 0 because we are avoiding any kind of self loops. So in all these cases, the diagonal entries are 0 because we are avoiding any kind of self loop. And the off diagonal entries, if there is 1 here, then there is 1 here also. That means in case of undirected graph, the matrix is always symmetric. That's the nice property. But in case of digraph, it may not be. It's mostly, you can see here it is 1, but it is 0 here. Similarly, here in multi-digraph, you can see 3 to 4, there are 2 directed edges. So the 3 4 entry is 2, whereas the 4 3 entry, that's 1 because there is only one directed edge from 4 to 3, right? Okay. Now let's talk about some of the properties, adjacency means some of the properties of an undirected simple graph. So first thing, since we saw that in case of an undirected graph, the adjacency matrix is always symmetric, so all its eigenvalues will be real, right? So we can order them. Let's order them in some non-decreasing order. Okay, so lambda 1 is the smallest one, lambda 2 is the second smallest, lambda n is the largest eigenvalue, adjacency eigenvalue of the graph. And one more property, that since it is symmetric, we must have a complete set of orthonormal eigenvectors. So here are some spectral properties of an undirected graph. One beautiful property is that a graph is bipartite if and only if the adjacency spectrum is symmetric about origin property. So symmetric about origin. So I want to explain. Okay, bipartite means the graph, the vertex set of the graph can be partitioned into two sets. Here you can see this is the graph. It got partitioned into two parts so that there is no edge in each partition, but whatever edge is there between one partition to the other. And we say symmetric about origin, its spectrum, the adjacency spectrum, you can see if minus 2.53 is there, then plus 2.5, sorry, this is there is a typo error here. This is 2.53. So if minus 2.53 is there, then plus 2.53 has to be there. Similarly, minus 1.47 is there, so plus 1.47 is there. That means if lambda is one eigenvalue in the spectrum with multiplicity k, then minus lambda has to be there with the same multiplicity. If that is so, we call it the spectrum satisfies the symmetric about origin property. Okay. So the property here, the condition here, it says that a graph is bipartite or not. We can observe it by knowing that whether the spectrum is symmetric about origin. So it's nice. That means we'll find out your spectrum, and by checking whether it is symmetric about origin, we can tell whether the graph is bipartite or not. Right? Similarly, there are many other properties. Like if you know the second largest adjacency eigenvalue, that's your lambda n minus 1. If it is equal to minus 1, we know the graph is complete graph. Complete graph means each vertex is connected to every other vertex in the graph. Okay. And if it is equal to 0, then the graph is complete multipartite. So there are more partitions, right? And this is the third largest adjacency eigenvalue. If it is less than minus 1, the graph is isomorphic to path graph on 3 vertices. And if it is equal to -1, we know the complement of the complement of the graph is isomorphic to the union of a complete bipolar graph and some isolated vertices. So these are some spectral properties about the adjacency matrix of an undirected graph we know already. Okay. There are many other properties like G is connected and n is greater than or equal to 3. Then lambda, that is the smallest one. This satisfies this condition lambda 1, k 1, n minus 1. What is this k n 1 minus 1? This is the graph obtained by kn minus 1. Kn minus 1 is your complete graph on n minus 1 vertices, and P2, that is a path on 2 vertices. So one end of the path on 2 vertices is coalescence with means it got identified with one vertex of the complete graph, right? Similarly, there is relationship with chromatic number also. That means here we know if n is greater than or equal to 7, and this is probably, yeah, this is the fourth largest adjacency eigenvalue. If it is less than 1 minus root 5 by 2, then the chromatic number of the graph is 3. Okay? So there are many other properties also. Now let us move to spectral properties of a multidigraph. Here is one multidigraph G, and this is the adjacency matrix corresponding to the multidigraph. Okay, so you can see there is no edge between 5 and 4, so 5 4 entry is 0, and there are 4 directed edges from 1 to 5, so here it is 4. Important thing is this is a 5 cross 5 matrix because there are 5 vertices here, and this is nilpotent matrix, so all its eigenvalues are 0, right? And the order of it, that means the degree of nilpotency is here 3. That means we will get only 3 orthonormal eigenvectors here, or 3 orthogonal eigenvectors here. So the basis of all its eigenvectors will contain only 3 numbers here, 3 eigenvectors, right? Instead of 5. Here is some other example. You can see G1 and G2. These are two multidigraphs. It differs only by, at this point, 2 3, there are 2 directed edges from 2 to 3 in G1, whereas in G2 they are from 3 to 2. But when we compute its adjacency spectrum, both are nilpotent, so it consists of only 0 eigenvalues, and this basis contains only one eigenvector in case of G1, and in case of G2 there are 2. Here in case of G3, the eigenvalues are complex. This is the complex root of unity, omega. So it consists of complex eigenvalues as well. That means if we are dealing with two multidigraphs and we are using, we have their spectrum, okay, the adjacency spectrum, then we cannot compare these multidiagrams in terms of their adjacency spectrum because they may contain complex eigenvalues. Right? So these are some difficulties in case of while dealing with multidigraphs and its adjacency spectrum. So these are some of the lacunae associated with a multidigraph by the adjacency matrix. The adjacency spectrum may contain complex entries. The matrix fails to possess a complete set of linearly independent eigenvectors. It is difficult to determine the change in orientation of any directed edge either from its eigenvalues or from its eigenvector. So this third property, let me show you here, G1 and G2, you can see even if we change the orientation, it's neither reflected in the spectrum nor in its eigenvectors, not properly, right? So we set some criteria for a new matrix which we want to associate with a multidigraph. So what are those criteria? The first, the matrix should be well defined, definitely, and it should be a generalization of the adjacency matrix of an undirected graph. That means we have adjacency matrix for undirected graph, and there is no issue, such kind of issue, because in that case it is symmetric. and we need to generalize it to multi-diagram. So at least whatever matrix we will associate, if it is possible that that matrix is a generalization of the adjacency matrix. If so, then it will be good. Next purpose is we assume that at least undirected edge should be treated equivalent to two oppositely oriented directed edges. That means it cancels the effect. It means one is in I to j direction, the other one is from j to I direction. So that is ultimately same as an undirected edge in the graph. So we try to make it a Hermitian matrix, because in that case all our eigenvalues will be real, and we must have a complete set of orthonormal eigenvectors. So this is the way we call the new matrix as complex adjacency matrix. So let me explain. Suppose Fij is the number of directed edges from vertex I to j. That means the forward edges. This F stands for forward edges, and Bij is the backward edge. That means from j to I, the number of directed edges from j to I, right? And here the similar way we have defined. Only thing is the component, the ith component of the matrix is defined as Fij plus Bij whole divided by 2 plus Fij minus Bij whole divided by 2 times I. I is your complex unit. So it has a real part and an imaginary part. That means we want to store as many information in the matrix, because if we store the direction thing, then it is expected something will come out in the spectrum or in its eigenvector. If you don't store it, it is not expected. In case of the adjacency matrices, you see, we are not bothering about what is the direction. Only here it is placed, but here it is 0. Some other places also it is 0. So we are not bothering about the direction. Now what we did, yes, this is the approach. This is one example. Here we are treating two oppositely oriented directed edges as equivalent to an undirected edge. You can see 2, 3. There are two between 2, 3. There are two oppositely oriented directed edges. So the 2, 3 entry becomes 1. Okay, that means how we compute it. Let me explain. Between 1 and 2, you observe there are two directed edges from 2 to 1 and one directed edge from 1 to 2. So total there are 3 directed edges. So 3 by 2, each one is a half vertex, and the effective orientation is denoted in its imaginary part. So basically one get cancelled and the other effect is in the negative direction. So it's that means 1, 2 entry is 3 by 2 minus I by 2, and 2, 1 entry becomes 3 by 2 plus I by 2. Am I clear? Is there any question? You can ask me here why I am setting all this, right? Is there any question here?
Yeah, sir, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so instead of defining like this, if you define like Fij plus Ibij, then what would be the difference?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Can you please go back to your previous slide in the definition?
Yes.
So Aij is defined Fij plus Bij divided by 2 plus Fij minus Bij divided by 2I. So
yes.
Instead of defining this, if somebody defines Fij plus Bi or plus Bij I, then
Okay.
what would be the difference? I mean, what would be the problem? Can you please make some comments on this?
No, here the target is not defining a matrix. And the most important thing is like you can define many ways a matrix, right? But it should be like it should give some spectral properties. That is the important thing. Means it should give some properties about the structure of the multi-digraph. And that is our target. So I don't know whether by defining your way, it will give or not. But to me, it's like I'm trying to make it a generalization of the. You can see if it's an undirected graph, so there will be for each of these kind 2 to 3 there are, so each undirected graph will be represented by this. So each one will be now Fij will be 1, Bij will be 1, so divided by 2, so it becomes 1 again, and Fij minus Bij whole divided by 2, that becomes 0. So it nullifies as this imaginary part, means it becomes 0. So it ultimately comes out as the adjacency matrix. That's why I can call it a generalization of the adjacency matrix.
Okay, fine. Just I wanted to know that if a matrix uniquely corresponds a graph or not in this case.
Yeah. That I haven't, means it has been checked. This will correspond up to at least isomorphism. That means numbering will not. Means if you change the numbering, then again it will little bit change. That means it will become permutationally similar. Otherwise, you can check it very easily. Right?
Yes, it's 1-1 correspondence.
Yeah.
Okay, because
That way only we defined. We tried for the definition should be well defined, so it's a 1-1 correspondence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So this is our complex matrix. We call it complex adjacency matrix here, and you can see the eigenvalues are real here, and we have exactly 4 orthogonal eigenvectors, right? So this is the relationship between our old adjacency matrix and complex adjacency matrix. This is very immediate, that if G is a multi-digraph, then and if you know the complex adjacency matrix, then just sum the real part and the imaginary part, you are getting back your adjacency matrix. And the other way around, that means if you know the adjacency matrix, just sum this Ij plus Ji entry whole divided by 2, Ij minus Ji whole divided by 2 times I. So you get its ijth entry. Now that I have already said that we can always compare the eigenvalues in this case. So we have used some comparison results here. Like there is a Cauchy interlacing theorem, which is very well known, which says about Hermitian matrix. Suppose B is a Hermitian matrix of order n, and Y is a vector. So A is the matrix defined like this. So it's of order n cross 1. Then the eigenvalues of A and eigenvalues of B will interlace in this fashion. So we use this technique to get what will happen if we delete a vertex from a multi-digraph. That means G be a multi-digraph on n plus 1 vertices, and H be obtained by deleting a vertex V, say. Then how they will interlace. So this shows this interlacing result. So what means benefit we can get from here? At least we can say if G has this largest eigenvalue, its multiplicity is 2, then I can guarantee at least there is this largest eigenvalue of H must be same as that the largest eigenvalue of G, isn't it? So this kind of immediate result or outcome we can immediately get it. Now, if we delete directed edge, then what happens? We have this interlacing result. Now, let's talk about this symmetric about origin property. I have already shown you before that in case of adjacency spectrum of an undirected graph is symmetric about origin if and only the graph is bipartite. So let's see whether it can be extended to our multi-digraph case in terms of our complex adjacency matrix. So we have this result that the complex adjacency spectrum of a bipartite multidigraph is symmetric about origin. So this property we are naming it as SO property. That means a multigraph satisfies this SO property if its complex adjacent spectrum is symmetric about origin. So by SO property we mean this condition, that symmetric about origin. So what about the converse? That means if it is if it is not bipartite, then is it always that means it should not be that symmetric about origin? That means, is it that only if it is symmetric about origin, then only this condition will be satisfied? The answer is no. Here is one example. It is on 5 vertices, so its associated graph is a bipartite graph. So we call it as a multi-digraph which is not bipartite, because it's a non-bipartite multi-digraph, because its associated graph is not a bipartite graph. And here, this is the complex adjacency spectrum, and you can see this is symmetric about origin. So let us find out what is the condition when we can say this is it will satisfy, a multi-digraph will satisfy symmetric about origin property. So that class of non-bipartite multi-digraphs we want to find out. So this is the technique. What we have to do, we have to take a proper cycle of it. It's a digraph, and we have put here, we have considered a weighted kind of digraph, where the weight is the corresponding weight in the matrix. That means the direction is from 1 to 2. So the 1, 2 entry of the matrix, the complex adjacency matrix, has been written here, and we will multiply along this path, along this cycle. If it comes out to be purely imaginary, then this means non-bipartite cycle multi-digraph is satisfies this SO property. Okay, and a multi-digraph satisfies this SO property if weights of all its odd cycles of multi-digraphs are also purely imaginary. Now about directed tree, multi-directed tree, we have some property like, before that I need to explain something. Suppose this is a multi-directed tree. It's a multi-directed tree. Why we are calling it a multi-directed tree? Because if we will take its without its direction and we'll put just a undirected edge in between, this becomes a tree, right? And in case of a multi-directed tree, we will produce its corresponding weighted digraph, just like the previous case, and we will take the modular graph. Modular graph is, we will take the modulus here, so it becomes an undirected weighted graph. And we say, if T is a multi-directed tree on n vertices, and T mod its modular tree, then complex adjacency spectrum of T and T mod are same. So they share the same complex adjacency spectrum. So this property, I'm not going detail into its proof. This property has a beautiful application to Hermitian matrices, class of Hermitian matrices. You can, I can illustrate it through example. You have a matrix P and P mod. So here, this P mod, not exactly modulus of each entry, rather excluding the modulus of the diagonal entries. That means whatever P you have, you take the modulus of the off-diagonal entries only and leave the diagonal entries as it is. If this, first thing, this has to be an Hermitian matrix, and its associated graph, if it is directed, if it is a tree, that means how we will construct its associated graph? That means corresponding to each non-zero entry, we have to put a corresponding undirected edge. If that is a tree, then these two has the same spectrum, right? So you have a matrix here, You took the modulus of the off-diagonal entries, and if this matrix, its associated graph is a tree, then this and this must have the same spectrum. Now let us restrict ourselves to directed graph case. That means simple directed graph. That means we will allow only one directed edge between a pair of, at max, one directed edge between a pair of vertices, right? So in this case, our entries will be either 0, and if it is from I to j, that means from vertex I to j, the corresponding entry in the matrix will be half plus I by 2, and if it is from j to I, then it becomes half minus I by 2. It's very simple. So some immediate properties are like the sum of all 2 cross 2 principal minors of a complex means complex adjacency matrix of a digraph D equals minus the number of edges. Similarly, P and Q are number of proper means one directed, means all the edges are directed in one direction, and improper, that means there is some change. So P is the number of proper directed 3 cycles, and Q is the number of improper 3 cycles in D. Then the sum of all 3 cross 3 principal minors of this matrix is equal to half of P minus Q. Next, we studied a complex adjacency spectra of a directed tree. So we consider a directed tree here. I have not written down the complete statement here. Just let me explain what it tells. So this is a tree on 10 vertices, and we say even if we change the orientation of any of its edges, okay, directed edge, then the complex adjacency spectrum will not change. All directed trees having same base structure share same complex adjacency spectrum, right? So how to find out that means if there is two directed trees which have the same spectrum, but they have some orientation change in orientation, then how can we find it out? The answer lies in its eigenvector. So we have chosen its largest eigenvalue, that's 3.046, and V is its corresponding eigenvector, and the modulus, it may happen that the eigenvector is complex. So in this case also it's a complex eigenvector, and the modulus of each entry has been written here as V mod. So V is the eigenvector corresponding to eigenvalue, the largest eigenvalue of this tree. Then so it has a real part and imaginary part, and also you can think of the other way, like the magnitude and its argument. Okay, so the argument is shown here in red here, the argument of these components. Okay, so since these entries will be non-zero, the first entry we can choose as 1. So the first entry, its argument is 0. We have chosen it. Okay, and it says if you are going away from this vertex, then it will exceed by minus pi by 4. The argument will exceed by minus pi by 4. So here it will become minus pi by 2. This will become, because it's minus pi by 4, so it again increases by minus pi by 2. Here again minus pi by 4, but it reverses the direction, so it gets changed. This becomes, argument becomes 0. This becomes plus pi by 4. So by knowing the eigenvector corresponding to the largest eigenvalue, its component tells the orientation of each edge in the directed tree, right? We move on to this cycle diagrams. If it is a cycle digraph which is proper, that means all the directed edges are in one direction, that means it is clockwise or anti-clockwise, then the spectrum follows this rule, and the eigenvectors are complex this is x omega is 1, omega square. These are the vectors, and omega is the nth root of unity. Now, if we change orientation of some of the arcs of a cycle diagram, then how the complex adjacency spectrum will be affected. So that we have studied, and we find that if B is the number of backward directed edges, that means suppose we are considering clockwise orientation, and there are some directed edges which are in opposite direction, then B is those number of backward directed edges. Then the spectrum, the complex adjacency spectrum of a cycle diagram will follow this formula, right? And it says B is there, so it doesn't matter where it is placed. It counts how many it is there, right? Then, for example, you can see these two diagrams. I can say this is an alternating cycle on 6 vertices. This is colliding cycle. Why it is alternating? From here, let's start. So this is in clockwise, this is anti-clockwise, this is clockwise, anti-clockwise. So it alternates. And here in colliding, there are 3 in one direction, there are another 3 in opposite direction. Okay, exactly. It starts from this point, suppose. So these are from one direction, this in other direction. So in this case, complex adjacency spectrum, by calculating the formula also through MATLAB computation also, you find this as the complex adjacency spectrum for both the diagrams. Now the next question is how to find out the structural difference between the two cycle diagrams on the same number of vertices which complex adjacency spectrum are the same. That means if these are having the same spectrum, how can we find out this orientation? Let me remind you, in case of adjacency spectrum, this was not possible, right? So now we have a theorem. Let me explain it quickly by showing one example. So basically here, this is a cycle diagram on 9 vertices, and this red we have written its component. Okay. So the first one is 1 because it's a non-zero entry. So we took it as 1. The next entry as theta 1. That means it increases by theta 1. Its argument increases by theta 1. Whereas if it is in the same direction, it becomes 2 theta 1. But if it changes the orientation here, so in the backward direction, it adds theta 2. So theta 1 for one direction, theta 2 for other direction. Finally, it will reach this point where 1 has to be same as this one. So using that and comparing, you can prove this result, and which says, okay, using your component, you can easily tell in which way the directed is pointing towards. Okay. Here is one example. The same example I have chosen. So the first component is here 1, then it is moving away from here, so it becomes e to the power minus I pi by 4. But again it gets changed, so it becomes 1. Again it changes, so it's 1 e to the power minus I by 4, 1 e to the, so it alternates also here. And here what happens? It's e to the power minus I by 4. Again it is in the same direction, so it adds minus pi by 2 to its argument, minus pi by 4 to its argument. So it becomes e to the power minus I pi by 2. And again it becomes e to the power minus I pi, because in the same direction. But again it changes, right? You can see. And this is the eigenvector corresponding to eigenvalue root 2 here. Right? These are the eigenvectors corresponding to root 2, which I have shown here. These are some of the references. If you need to know more about me, so these are 2 papers which got recently accepted. One on adjacency spectra of diagram, and another one about the multi-diagram, the complex adjacency spectra of multi-diagram. So if you have any question.
Yes. Thank you,
Hi,
Gopinath, for that.
Gopinath.
Yeah. Gopinath, hi, I'm Swanand here. Sorry, Rajesh, I just have a quick question.
No. After thanking, you can ask the question. That's it.
Okay, sure, sir.
Okay. Nothing. Yeah. Thank you, Gopinath. Now people can ask questions. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, Gopinath, thanks for a very interesting talk. So, I have a question about this multi-digraph. You constructed a new adjacency-like matrix, right?
Yes.
And then you were telling something about the symmetry of the spectrum of the Hermitian matrix. And you said that if the digraph is bipartite, then you see the symmetry in the spectrum, but the converse is not true.
Yeah.
Right? And you showed some example where you had 5 vertices and 0 and
Yeah.
those eigenvalues. Can you go to that?
Yeah. Sure. Oh, yes.
So my question is, when you talk of bipartite graph, I think you have 2 partitions, right?
Yeah.
And so when you have, so can you just give some idea why this may be the case? Like why
I mean,
why the converse is not holding true? No, the general idea, if you can give, like you told us very nicely, the interpretation of the adjacency matrix, Hermitian adjacency matrix. Like you look at the real part, you make 2 times it, and then you have the number of edges, and then how many effective edges that is coming out from the imaginary part. So based on that interpretation, is there any like intuitive reason? Like how did you guess this result? Like did you prove this result?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you sort of guess the converse may not be true and something like that? I mean, if it is easy to throw some insight into this, if it is easy, I know it might not be, but because it is very interesting. That's why. That's
Most of my results are really observation. The proof means it's not that easy. Once means the proof is over, maybe it seems easy. But,
no. So, but okay, fine, I understand. So
Okay,
you
okay.
did lots of observations, is what you
Yeah,
like. You
first
played
thing
with
is
lots
lots
of
of
graphs and.
observation.
Okay.
Yeah, the question is immediate. That means we try to find out if, whether similar kind of property is there or not. So
Yes.
I find out some cases where even if it is like it's on 5 vertices, it satisfies the condition. So I got surprised. So I need to find out the class of such matrices. Class of such multi-diagrams which will satisfy. So again, let me tell you, this is not complete. That means it is not a sufficient condition I have not given yet. That means if we can give a sufficient condition, at least we can give a class of matrices which is Hermitian, for which we can guarantee, okay, the spectrum is symmetric about origin.
Yeah.
So that's a nice property for
Correct.
also. So this is, I can say, this is by observation, and the proof it follows next. What is the thing? Like I find that okay, this becomes purely imaginary because I want to prove it. So that if I realize that okay, it becomes imaginary, so it helps.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Very nice. Actually, I really liked your talk. I don't work in graph theory much, but you explained it very nicely. Thank you very much.
Hello. I have a question regarding usual. So we start with a complete bipartite graph without orientation, just the usual graph. Then its spectrum is symmetric about the origin, right? And the converse is also true. Isn't it so?
Can you? It's not complete bipartite. It's not complete bipartite, by the way. Yeah.
So what is the very first theorem you told about bipartite graphs, about the spectrum symmetric about origin?
First thing, if it is a bipartite, means if we are dealing with an undirected graph, then it's symmetric about origin. If it satisfies the symmetric origin about origin, then the graph must be bipartite, both ways.
We don't need complete. You are saying bipartite if and only if symmetric about the origin. So my question is, so we take a symmetric subset of reals, like symmetric about origin. Then can we construct a bipartite graph whose spectrum is that set we started with? Such construction is possible, or is there some partial results in that direction?
Can you repeat it?
So if you start with a bipartite graph, then its spectrum is subset of reals which is symmetric about the origin.
Okay.
I'm starting with a subset of reals which is symmetric about the origin.
Okay.
Can I find a graph which is bipartite whose spectrum will be the set I started with?
Okay. Maybe possible. I don't have idea. It's fast that things whatever I have presented here, it's the mere observation and questionnaire I got the results. It seems like whatever you were saying, it may work.
Okay, I would like to answer Arun. Arun, you asked the question that is you were taking some eigenvalues or numbers and then you were looking for the graph. And that's not easy actually. And that's another problem of this spectral graph theory, that given some numbers, can we get all the graphs with that spectrum? Okay, so that's now people are working actually. If you give me 3 numbers also, it's difficult. So that's a difficult question. But people are working slowly, they're moving.
Okay, ma'am. That inverse eigenvalue problem you are referring to right now.
Yeah. So
general,
that will happen.
In general, maybe inverse eigenvalue problem is a bit difficult, but it is very special case, no, ma'am. We are not starting with R. So I thought there may be some partial results. We are not starting with arbitrary subset.
Partial results you can get, partial. But then also bipartite class is a bigger class. So for all, any number if you choose, so it's difficult. But obviously if you choose some special kind of numbers, you can get.
Okay. Also, the spectrum 0 can appear as an eigenvalue. Right? It is symmetric about.
If you are dealing with odd number of vertices, so definitely
0 will appear, and that a nullity problem some other student is working, that when 0 will appear and what will be the nullity, that type of thing. So for this matrix. So if we get some nice results, then you can see.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Gopinath sir. Nice presentation.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. If there is no more questions, let's thank the speaker. Thank you, Gopinath, for the interesting talk. Yeah. So I will upload the slides as well as the video of this presentation by tonight. Okay, you'll be able to see from the website. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Gopinath?
Yes, sir.
So please send the presentation.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gopinath.
Thank you for allowing me to give a presentation here. Thank you.
It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Bye.